Part 41. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 401. Chapter 401, I don't want him now that I have a poisonous insect. Didn't I say that you don't have to worry about eating or drinking? Yu Lingfeng spoke quietly from the side. But I just can't help but want to take care of it. Xia Ying raised her head and smiled at Yu Lingfeng. Yu Lingfeng, do you know? I really like these little bugs. He has seen it? Yu Lingfeng, sit here and wait for me, I'll bring them water. Xia Ying pointed to the chair nearby for resting and then happily led her little goo insects towards the river. Yu Lingfeng sat silently on the bench, looking at Xia Ying's beautiful back. Since she likes those little bugs so much, and those little bugs seem to be really good, at least, they have no tendency to threaten Xia Ying. Not only that, they also seem to like Xia Ying very much. Yu Lingfeng felt that these goo insects seemed to be able to stay. However, Yu Lingfeng had a vague feeling that Xia Ying had those little goo bugs and they didn't pay much attention to him. Along the way, Xia Ying looked down at her precious bugs much more often than she looked up at him. Yu Lingfeng thought so, and sat there dully, looking at Xia Ying. Xia Ying squatted by the river and shouted to the little bug in the bracelet bell, "Little guys, come out and drink water." Hearing the master's call, the little ones all lined up and came out. Looking at Xia Ying, they blinked their green eyes. When Xia Ying saw their eyes for the first time, she thought they were eerie and scary. But now it seems that these green lights are like green emeralds. Not only are they not scary, but they are also very beautiful. Go and drink water. Xia Ying pointed to the river below and said to them. Unexpectedly, the little goo insects were not so obedient this time. They looked at each other for a while, and finally just blinked at Xia Ying. Xia Ying was puzzled. Don't you drink water? At this moment, the little goo bugs suddenly flew away in a single column, with Xia Ying following behind them. The little bugs flew into the grass. Xia Ying stopped and pushed aside the leaves to see what they were doing. The little bugs were lying on the leaves, sucking the juice from the leaves. Xia Ying looked at them and smiled, so you are quite picky eaters. Do these little guys think the river water is dirty? Haha, really smart. After the little goo insects had their fill, they flew back home. Xia Ying turned her head to look at Yu Lingfeng in the distance with a face full of joy. However, Xia Ying did not see Yu Lingfeng, but only saw a circle of girls surrounding the bench. Xia Ying's smile immediately dropped. She had only been walking for a while. Why was Yu Lingfeng targeted so quickly? Xia thought so and walked towards the crowd angrily. However, before Xia Ying took a few steps, Yu Lingfeng had already squeezed out of the crowd. Moreover, his face was full of impatience and disgust. The girls didn't seem to be aware of Yu Lingfeng's unhappy expression, or they clearly saw it, but still wanted to talk to or look at Yu Lingfeng. At least, it was okay to listen to the handsome guy talk. Yu Lingfeng. Xia Ying called Yu Lingfeng's name and waved to him. Yu Lingfeng looked at him and then strode towards Xia Ying. The girls turned back and watched all this silently, and the smiles on their faces immediately dropped. It turns out that such a handsome boy already has a girlfriend. Although the girl is also wearing a mask, it can still be seen that she must be very beautiful. After all, she was standing there with extraordinary temperament. Thanks to the little cutie Chuyu Acridine for the reward. The cuties who won last time were Anhao, Shenxia Bamboo Song, Yianko, Adzioa Penguin, 299-133-0854, provide a screenshot of the login page to claim the prize. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 402. Chapter 402, You look so cute when you're jealous. Yu Lingfeng saw that the expression on Xia Ying's face was not very good, and she stared at him with a dark face. Although she didn't say anything, it was already written on her face. Yu Lingfeng said quietly, they came here on their own. Xia Ying looked at Yu Lingfeng's clear eyes, spread her hands and said helplessly, I can't help you anymore. Wearing a mask can still attract bees and butterflies. Xia Ying said, turned, and walked away. Yu Lingfeng followed Xia Ying silently. Xia Ying quickened her pace, and Yu Lingfeng followed closely. Xia Ying didn't say much along the way. When Yu Lingfeng was about to catch up with her, she walked a little faster, as if she deliberately prevented Yu Lingfeng from catching up with her. Yu Lingfeng frowned. Did he make her unhappy? Xia Ying walked to the school gate, then turned around and said to Yu Lingfeng expressionlessly, I'm going to class, you go home. Yu Lingfeng didn't answer. He just stared at Xia Ying's face for a while, then slightly raised his lips and said with a smile, Are you jealous? Xia Ying was stunned for a moment, then retorted, No, what are you talking about? I have nothing to be jealous of. After Xia Ying finished speaking, she was about to turn around and leave. Just as she opened her legs, Yu Lingfeng suddenly grabbed her wrist, and the next second, Xia Ying fell into Yu Lingfeng's arms. Yu Lingfeng leaned over and whispered in Xia Ying's ear, You are so cute when you are jealous. The ending sounds are still two sultry chuckles. Yu Lingfeng's words made Xia Ying feel numb all over. Xia Ying reacted for a while, then immediately pushed Yu Lingfeng away, blushing and said, Yu Lingfeng, please pay attention to the impact, okay? This is school. Xia Ying said, turned around and ran away. Yu Lingfeng looked at Xia Ying's confused look and suddenly smiled even happier. Yu Lingfeng looked up at the sky. Why had he never noticed that the sky today was so clear and bright? Even the breeze was softer and more delicate than usual. Yu Lingfeng turned around and met a pair of mismatched eyes. There was unconcealable sadness and loss in those eyes. After seeing Yu Lingfeng looking at him, Jun Chenai quickly lowered his head and walked quickly past Yu Lingfeng. Just before Jun Chenai walked far, a female voice rang out from behind him. Brother Chenai, Brother Chenai. At this moment, this voice only made Jun Chenai more irritated. He had originally wanted to escape early, but why would he look back now? So, when Jun Chenai heard Mu Niankai calling him from behind, he quickened his pace. Seeing Jun Chenai behaving like this, Mu Niankai paused, her face drooped, and she sniffed aggrievedly. Brother Chenai is still so cold to her. Hey, why didn't you run away? Weren't you very happy just now, Brother Chenai? Brother Chenai, do you think you are filming a costume drama? What about my brother and sister? At this time, Hanzija walked up to Mu Niankai holding a football and teased her. Mu Niankai was already furious at this moment, ready to explode anytime and anywhere. Hanzija came to make her unhappy, so Mu Niankai naturally pointed the finger at him. Mu Niankai glared at Hanzija with a sullen face and kicked him in the calf without thinking. I want you to take care of it. Mu Niankai was originally just a warning to Hanzija, but she accidentally failed to control the intensity, and it seemed that the kick was very hard. Hanzija immediately squatted down, covering his calf and screaming in pain. La la la, the May Day holiday is about to take place. How are the little cuties planning to spend the May Day holiday? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 403. Chapter 403, I caught myself at the gunpoint. Mu Niankai looked a little panicked when she saw this. Their football team had a football match this afternoon. If she kicked Hanzija and injured her at this time, she would become the sinner of the entire school. Hanzija is the captain of the football team after all, the soul of the football team. Mu Niankai swallowed silently, and then asked tentatively, Hey, you are not so squeamish, are you? Hanzija raised his head and glared at Mu Niankai angrily, Why are you so violent, You girl. Are you planning to enter a sports school in the future because you are so strong? Muni Ankai was not happy when she saw Hanzaja yelling at her. She was already in a bad mood, and it was obviously him who hit the muzzle of the gun. You deserve it. Who told you to make fun of me? Muni Ankai put her hands on her hips, looking confident. Hanzaja was helpless. This girl's crooked reasoning is really. Is this why you injured my calf? Hanzaja said angrily. Are you afraid that you are an undercover agent sent by the school next door? Hey, Hanzaja, are you finished? Didn't you just get kicked by a girl? You are too weak. Yes, yes, does it hurt Miss Mew's feet from kicking her? This guy is not a girl, he is clearly a tomboy. Forget about being fierce, he is still as strong as an ox. You. Muni Ankai was so angry that he was speechless. Why did she carry it like this today? Having been left out by Jun Chennai just now, and now meeting such a great person, this life is really miserable. Snored. Muni Ankai simply shook her head and left, ignoring Hanzaja. Hanzaja rubbed his injured calf and shouted at Muni Ankai's back, Hey, stinky girl, you kicked someone and hurt them and you just slapped there and left. Muni Ankai paused, closed her eyes and took a deep breath, trying to adjust her breathing. Okay, she endured it. Why did she feel like she was in trouble? Muni Ankai turned around and walked towards Hanzaja and said, Then what do you want to do? How much do you want me to pay you? Hanzaja rolled his eyes and said, Miss Mew, can you be more mature? Muni Ankai was anxious. What's wrong? You don't have any fractures, why do you still want the lion to open its mouth? Before Muni Ankai finished speaking, Hanzaja stood up, stretched out his long arm, put it on Muni Ankai's shoulders, and said, Send me to the classroom. Muni Ankai was stunned. After reacting for 2 seconds, she turned to glare at Hanzaja, You stinky gangster. Are you taking the opportunity to eat my tofu? Well, don't try to flatter your face, Hanzaja said angrily. You know that the most important thing I, Hanzaja, lack is women, so why would I care about your little tofu? Hanzaja said, glancing at Muni Ankai's chest. Muni Ankai was ashamed and angry. She raised her fists and threatened, Hanzaja, if you look at me again, I will blow your head off. Hanzaja curled his lips and said, I really can't take a joke. Muni Ankai naturally knew about Hanzaja's urine. Everyone on the football team knew that Hanzaja was a prodigal who liked to hook up with pretty girls when he had nothing to do. Moreover, this was just for fun. After all, what Hanzaja really cared about and liked before was Xiamenjian. As for his love of chatting up pretty girls, it was one of his characteristics. He was such a contradictory person. He was only infatuated with Xiamenjian, while at the same time he was flirting with others. In the words of a member of the football team, Hanzaja is an infatuated person dressed like a prodigal. To put it bluntly, Xiao is going to Changshalan on May 1. You guys study hard, ha ha ha, to attract hatred. Please vote for recommendations. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 404. Chapter 404, Bringing Lunch. Muni Ankai helped Hanzaja to his seat, and then walked out in embarrassment under the ambiguous looks from Hanzaja and his class. It's true, I don't know, but I thought she was having an affair with Hanzaja. She is Muni Ankai, this Hanzaja is really enough. Hanzaja looked at Muni Ankai's fleeing figure and laughed uncontrollably from behind. Muni Ankai, this little girl, is really fun. Hanzaja thought so, then stood up and took the water glass to get the water. He just played a little trick and really deceived that silly girl Muni Ankai. Do you really think her kick is so powerful? Can he be disabled by kicking him? Muni Ankai returned to the classroom angrily. Sun Han saw Muni Ankai's disgusting expression from a distance, so he asked, Sister Ni Ankai, what's wrong? Who provoked you? A very, very annoying person. Muni Ankai increased her tone, getting angry just thinking about it. Sun Han became even more curious, who could actually make her sister Nian Chi so angry? Xia Ying. Sun Han asked tentatively. It has nothing to do with her. Muni Ankai waved her hand impatiently, stop guessing. Oh fine. Sun Han honestly shut his mouth. Unexpectedly, when school was over at noon, Muni Ankai and Sun Han were stopped by a boy as soon as they walked out of the classroom door. Muni Ankai turned around and looked at the boy. The boy was wearing a football uniform, probably from the football team. Is there a problem? Muni Ankai asked. Oh, our captain said you were going to be kicked and injured, so you should be responsible for bringing him lunch. The boy spread the word. Muni Ankai's face darkened. What the hell, there's no one left in your football team. Moreover, Hanzija is the captain of the football team and the crush of many girls. Will this guy lack someone to bring lunch? And he was obviously not seriously injured. Thinking of this, Muni Ankai actually felt guilty. Tell the commander that he has been unable to attend the afternoon because of you. You are the initiator, so you must serve him well. Muni Ankai's teeth were itching after hearing this. Muni Ankai was asked to serve him. This Hanzija's skin is really itchy. When had she, Muni Ankai, served anyone before? She has always been the one to be served, right? Just at this time, Amo Rongrong ran over in a hurry. Panting, he stood next to Muni Ankai and panted, no. I'm sorry, Nian, Sister Niankai, our teacher is dragging the class, and I am late. Muni Ankai glanced at Emo Rongrong on the side, her eyes brightened, it doesn't matter, you came just in time, go buy a lunch for Hanzija and send it over. Ah. Emo Rongrong frowned, and then asked in a low voice, where is Hanzija? Muni Ankai looked at the boy. The boy didn't intend to tell Muni Ankai. He just said, why are you such a elementary school girl? Our captain's leg was injured by your kick. This afternoon there is a competition related to the school's honor. I can't even play, so you should at least express your apology. Muni Ankai's face darkened, the only thing to blame is that your captain is too squeamish, blah. After Muni Ankai finished speaking, she turned around to buy lunch. How could she be so unlucky that she ended up in this kind of thing? Sun Han and Emo Rongrong followed the angry Muni Ankai all the way. Sun Han asked in a low voice, Sister Niankai, do you really want to bring lunch to Senior Hanzija in person? End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 405. Chapter 405 will not be the same next time. If not. Muni Ankai said angrily, she didn't want to be blamed for this. If Guangyang loses the game in the afternoon, someone might blame her. The more Muni Ankai thought about it, the more she felt unlucky. No, she could only blame Hanzija. If he hadn't made fun of her or provoked her, nothing like this would have happened. Muni Ankai had a dark face all the way, and came to the lounge with her rice in hand under the surprised eyes of passers-by. It was said that Hanzija was here, and when Muni Ankai passed by the football field, the game was already in the preparation stage, and the game would start in half an hour. Muni Ankai opened the door to the lounge, and Hanzija was lying on the couch looking like an uncle, smiling exaggeratedly while watching TV. On the coffee table next to him was a half-drunk Coca-Cola and an open bag of potato chips. Muni Ankai's original apology was completely wiped out by Hanzija's performance. Hanzija heard the sound of the door and turned around, his eyes falling on a bag of food that Muni Ankai was carrying on her cell phone. Hanzija raised his lips and smiled, complaining, why did you come here? Do you want to starve me to death? Muni Ankai approached Hanzija, put down her lunch angrily, then glared at Hanzija and said, I think you are living a good life. Hanzija nodded proudly, then unpacked the package, and a sumptuous lunch was presented in front of him. Hanzaja ate his meal while vaguely answering Muniankai's words, "When have I ever treated myself badly?" Muniankai ignored him. Instead, her eyes fell on his calf. Hanzaja was wearing football uniforms and knee pads, as if he was about to play. Muniankai frowned and asked, "Hey, Hanzaja, are you sure you really can't play?" Hearing this, Hanzaja raised his head and rolled his eyes at her. "Can you please respect my hobby? Do you understand what playing, kicking, and playing football is?" Muniankai's face drooped. "Oh, didn't I just make a mistake?" Hanzaja saw Muniankai looking so casual, as if he looked down on him, so he put down his chopsticks and said to Muniankai with a serious face, "Don't look down on our football team, although our national football team is not good, but I am the one who will lead the national team to glory in the future." "Oh." Muniankai just responded perfunctorily, and then asked, "Have you seen the school doctor for your leg injury?" Hanzaja chuckled, "What's so interesting about this? Then if you have any side effects in the future, don't rely on me." Muniankai shrugged and said. Hanzaja rolled his eyes, "Why do you think I'm being treated like a cheat?" Muniankai said angrily, "Isn't it right? I just accidentally kicked you, and you asked me to buy you lunch. You have to know that I, Muniankai, never bring food to others." "So what, you haven't brought it with you yet?" Hanzaja sneered. Muniankai's face darkened and she said, "Hey, I'm telling you Hanzaja, I won't do this again." Hanzaja didn't reply to her, just looked up at the clock, and then said to Muniankai, "Girl, come here and help me to the stadium." Muniankai's face darkened, and she gritted her teeth and said, "I've already told you not to follow this example, and don't call me around again." Hanzaja ignored her and just repeated, "Come here and help me, the football match is about to start." End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 406. Chapter 406. She, Muniankai, was actually fooled. Muniankai gritted her teeth and looked angry. What evil had she done? Hanzaja, a man who is over 1.8 meters tall, is being supported by Muniankai, a girl who is over 1.6 meters tall. This scene is quite funny. Hanzaja kept smiling the whole time, and even halfway through, he even deliberately added more strength to Muniankai. Muniankai couldn't bear it anymore, so her shoulders sank, and she complained, "Hanzaja, why are you so heavy? Did you know that there is a word called weight loss?" Hanzaja curled his lips and said disapprovingly, "I am an athlete, and my weight is strictly controlled. It does not mean that I can lose it just by losing weight." However, just as Muniankai helped Hanzaja onto the court, Hanzaja suddenly stood up, resurrected with full health on the spot, and ran towards his team members. Muniankai looked at all this in stunned silence. So Hanzaja was playing with her? His legs are obviously very good, but when did they become so bad that he can no longer play football? "Thank you, little crutch." Hanzaja also smiled and waved to Muniankai. "Damn it!" Muniankai shouted angrily, "This guy is really annoying." "Hanzaja, your leg is obviously fine, why did you lie to me?" Muniankai shouted to Hanzaja. Hanzaja ignored her and started the game. Muniankai stamped her feet angrily. She, Muniankai, was actually fooled. Ziyu has successfully completed the task assigned to him by Xia Ying, so he quickly told Xia Ying. Xia Ying looked at everything 11 Ju collected and smiled. Xiao Na didn't know what she was doing at the moment. A few days ago, Xia Ying beat the out of the group of people she sent and went back to report the news, saying that she would never be able to stand up again. According to Xiao Na's personality, She is naturally extremely confident and feels that everything she does is perfect. How could Xia Ying know? However, Xiao Na forgot that Xia Ying had a lot of assistants, and 11 Ju was one of them who was particularly outstanding. 11 Ju's hacking ability is not limited, and 11 Ju is also a very powerful thief. No matter how tight the security was, it could not stop 11 Ju from going in and stealing. I don't know if Xiao Na has discovered that the videotape she secretly hid and used to blackmail others has disappeared. 11 Ju looked at the videotapes marked with names and asked Xia Ying, "What are you going to do with these things?" Xia Ying looked at the pile of videotapes on the table. Each one had a name. They were all used by Xiao Na to blackmail those poor girls who had dreams of entering the entertainment industry, but were ultimately used by her. Xia Ying frowned and said, "These things should be returned to the girls after the court testifies. Many of them are probably living their lives in fear because of this videotape." 11 Ju nodded. Finally, Xia Ying compiled the call records, chat records, and other information between Xiao Na and the film crew, and sent them to the court along with these videotapes. Not long after, Xiao Na's company received a summons from the court as a defendant. Jonah was being interviewed by the media at the time. Because of her generosity, the living and learning environment of many children in mountainous areas has been greatly improved. What's even more worth mentioning is that Xiao Na also established the Xiao Myron Charitable Foundation and donated all the money she saved in the entertainment industry over the years to the foundation to help many children in mountainous areas who need help. Thanks to Joanna's help, the children in the mountainous area have indeed improved their living conditions and have new teaching buildings and learning tools. Thanks to the little cutie Hidamai for the reward of 1,888 book coins. Thanks to the little cuties Ji Yiyun and Yi Wixi for the reward. Additional updates will be posted later if there are rewards. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 407. Chapter 407. I will never get up this time. Although Xiao Na was indeed blackmailed by the entire internet before and was criticized for quitting the entertainment industry. However, netizens are the most forgetful people, and they often change their views on a person because of certain things. These charitable deeds of Xiao Na were not in vain. Xiao Na's company has issued many press releases in the past few days to promote their Xiao Beauty Foundation. Suddenly, there was a lot of talk about Xiao Na on the internet. Perhaps Qiana did do something wrong before, but after all, she is young and energetic, and it seems that she has indeed been doing charity seriously in the past 6 months. Yes, we are all scolding Xiao Na, but Xiao Na is really not bad when it comes to charity. Actually, Xiao Na is probably a nice person, she just does that kind of thing when she is hot-headed. It just happened that someone took advantage of her and was kicked off the stage. I hope Xiao Na's life will get better and better in the future. Xiao Myron, please come back soon. I have always been your die-hard fan from before to now. The company was very happy to see the comments from netizens. From the looks of it, Xiao Na's re-debut and peak is just around the corner. As a result, a court summons was delivered. Jonah's agent opened it with confusion on her face, and was shocked when she saw the content. The piles here are enough to put Xiao Na in jail for more than 10 years. Her career has just begun to take off, who wants to harm her? When Xiao Na learned all this, her whole face turned cold. She slumped down on the sofa, her head resting on her head, and she had a headache. What does the company say, can it be saved? Jonah said coldly. Now I don't know what evidence the other party has, and I don't know if we can negotiate privately. The agent explained. Jonah angrily picked up the cup at hand and smashed it. Let me know who it is, I will definitely crush him. The public opinion about her on the internet had just gotten better, and suddenly something like this happened. Think carefully about whether you have offended anyone recently. How can I not? I have been so honest recently, I. Chiao Na suddenly paused in the middle of her words. Xia Ying? The person she sent to murder Xia Ying last time sent word that Xia Ying would make her unable to turn over forever. Could it be said that Xia Ying did all this? It's Xia Ying. Jonah's face turned cold, she looked out the window with half-clouded eyes, and clenched her hands into fists. Xia Ying. The agent frowned. Are you causing trouble for me again? Jonah was speechless. The manager looked like he hated iron. I told you to be more honest recently, but you didn't listen. If you just listen to the company's arrangements and do things properly, wouldn't this be the case? Why do you have to provoke Xia Ying so well? I'm just unhappy. If it weren't for Xia Ying, would I, Chiao Na, be in this state now? Jonah said angrily. The agent was helpless because he had already had difficulty communicating with Chiao Na. Why should he take over such a difficult artist to lead, causing trouble all day long? Even though he couldn't stop her from doing those unscrupulous things before, he knew that one day she would be discovered and exposed. Well now, this day has finally come. Jonah really couldn't get up this time. I'm going to find Xia Ying. Jonah stood up as she spoke, her face turned blue with anger. However, just as she walked to the door, a group of policemen in uniform suddenly came over. Jonah was stunned and subconsciously took 2 steps back. Police, please come with us. Please give me a recommendation vote. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuen Suya. Chapter 408. Chapter 408. Jiao Na is in jail. The winter vacation is coming. For the Chinese people, the thing that is more exciting than the winter vacation is that Jiao Na, a former well-known actress in the entertainment industry and the eldest daughter of the Jiao family, one of the 4 major families, was imprisoned due to a scandal in the entertainment industry. Although the Jiao family tried to protect themselves, Xia Ying had all the evidence. Chiao Na has no way of denying it at all, and this lawsuit has been attracting attention from the beginning. Within a few days, the kind persona that Chiao Na had just established collapsed again in the blink of an eye. Netizens said they were shocked. Not only did they learn how insidious and cunning Chiao Na was, but they also believed that the characters in the entertainment industry could not be trusted. Chiao Na's Beauty Chiao Foundation is all fake, all for the purpose of whitewashing her name. She is a snake and scorpion at heart, extremely vicious. For Chiao Na, the money is nothing at all, it is just a means to get her back to the top of the entertainment industry. Later, Psyche and many other actresses who had been persecuted by Chiao Na testified in court, and evidence such as call records and chat text messages of Chiao Na threatening them were retrieved. Previously, because the videotape was in Qiana's hands, they had been swallowing their anger and had no place to redress their grievances. However, when they heard that Chiao Na had been sued to court by Xia Ying, and that Xia Ying had all the evidence in her hands. Xia Ying also assured the victims that once the lawsuit was over, all the evidence would be handed over to them for destruction, and then they dared to speak out for themselves. A woman like Joanna should have gone to long ago. There was no way a place like prison could accommodate her. Her mind was simply poisoned by the devil. The lawsuit went smoothly, and Chiao Na was sentenced to 10 years in prison. The Chiao family had to mediate, otherwise, Chiao Na would have been sentenced to a longer sentence. However, for the victims, it is very gratifying to have the day to avenge themselves, and to see the day when the bad guys take off their masks and are despised by thousands of people. After all, this was something they had never dared to think about before. Chiao Na's power was so great that only Xia Ying dared to openly oppose her. Chiao Na was sentenced, and Xia Ying left the court under the protection of bodyguards. The outside was bustling with media reporters, all wanting to interview Xia Ying. Xia Ying, why did you suddenly sue Chiao Na? Was it because you discovered her secret by some chance, or did you always know it? Xia since you have evidence of Jiao Na's crime in your hand, why didn't you take it out all at once and oust Jiao Na directly after the incident of Jiao Na stealing music? Xia Ying, where did your evidence come from? Xia Ying, how many Jonas do you think there are in today's entertainment industry? Is this the reason why you chose not to come back? People around asked a series of questions, and Xia Ying took a deep breath and said, what happened to Jiao Na is not an accident, it is inevitable. With Jiao Na in her life, the entertainment industry will not be able to calm down, and many truly talented people will be eliminated. Suppression. Not being in the entertainment industry is a matter of personal choice, but as a half insider, I still hope that the entertainment industry will get better and better. Xia Ying finished speaking and left. Xia Ying glanced at the Jiao family on the side, who were also staring at her with livid faces. Because of Jiao Na's incident, the Jiao family's stock price plummeted, the market price dropped significantly, and it has fallen into the camp of the four major families. Now, the Han Group has officially replaced the Jiao family and entered the four new major families. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yuan Suya. Chapter 409. Chapter 409, First in Grade. Jiaolin stood out among a group of family men wearing dark suits and ties. Jiaolin actually didn't know that Jiao Na had done such a thing in private. She has always known that Jiao Na does things recklessly and willfully, but she still did not expect Jiao Na to be so bad and touch the bottom line of the law. Jiaolin silently bit her lower lip and looked at Xia Ying. Xia Ying had always been a sacred and inviolable white moonlight in her heart. She has always admired Xia Ying, not only for her talent but also as a person. Just because of what happened before, Jiaolin now feels inferior and shrinks when she sees Xia Ying. At least now she can smile at Xia Ying when she sees her. The Jiao family has always been cruel and ruthless, not only Qiana, but also everyone in the Jiao family, and Jiaolin is an exception among them. Perhaps it's because Jiaolin is the youngest daughter of the Jiao family and has lived a carefree life since she was a child. Therefore, her nature is relatively simple and even a little timid. Jiaolin had always been worried that people in her family would hold grudges and wait for revenge because Xia Ying caused the Jiao family to fall out of the four major families. Linlin, what are you looking at? Let's go quickly. Jiaolin was still staring at Xia Ying furtively, but she didn't expect that everyone in the family had already left. A cold male voice came from behind, breaking Jiaolin's contemplation and making her take steps to keep up with them. Not long after Xia Ying got in the car, she saw the news in the class group. The results of the final exam came out, and Xia Ying came first. When Xia Ying was looking at the results, Chu Shenxiu turned his head and took a look. He saw that the first place was Xia Ying's name, and he happily started cheering, "Cousin Xia Ying is the first in grade." Luo Xian was startled when she heard that, and it took her a while to react. She turned around and looked at Xia Ying, and said excitedly, "Xia Ying, did you get first place in the exam?" "First in grade?" "Yes, yes, and Cousin Sakura is really great." Chu Shenxiu was a bit happier than the person involved. "Sakura is first, what about Xiaoxun?" Xia Ying frowned when she saw Ye Xiaoxun's ranking. Ye Xiaoxun actually fell outside the 10th place. This is the first time. Ye Xiaoxun has always been the first, there has never been an exception. But this time in the final exam, she actually got 11th place. Xia Ying actually expected that Ye Xiaoxun spent too much time on games and watching basketball commentary in order to chat with her fan Xian and have a common topic. Moreover, Ye Xiaoxun was always distracted during class. Xia Ying clenched her fists. She could no longer watch Ye Xiaoxun degenerate like this. Yezioksun is going to be the top candidate in the market exam. She can't fall like this just because of a boy. Luo Xin turned to look out the window. The weather seemed to be very good today. However, before Luo Xin could look for a few seconds, his eyes suddenly lit up and he saw a familiar figure standing not far away, staring at their car. The smile on Luo Xin's face turned cold, and her eyes became more and more panicked. It's Xia Chuanhai again. Since everyone has separated, why does he suffer like this? Can't we just get together and have a break? Just as Luo Xin was thinking about it, her phone rang. It was a text message from Xia Chuanhai. Zioxin, let's find a time to chat, shall we? Luo Xin just glanced at the content of the text message, and suddenly her heartbeat quickened and she hurriedly closed her phone. End of this chapter. The Return of the National Goddess. Author, Yun Suya. Chapter 410. Chapter 410. I suspect she really likes me. No, she can't be so soft-hearted. Xia Chuanhai had an affair with his best friend and gave birth to a child about the same age as Xia Ying. This hurdle was too difficult for Luo Xin to overcome. Xia Chuanhai had hidden her identity for so many years, and even brought Xia Menjian home without telling her identity. If Xia Ying hadn't been discovered later, would Xia Chuanhai have planned to deceive her for the rest of his life? That was Xiao Yanhong. The best friend she used to treat with all her heart and soul actually gave birth to a child with her husband. She originally thought that Xia Menjian was really just an accident caused by Xia Chuanhai, so she gritted her teeth and accepted it. However, Luo Xin never thought that the unexpected target was Xiao Yanhong. Xiao Yanhong had been interested in Xia Chuanhai since she was in college, which meant that their relationship was definitely not just an accident. Luo Xin thought of this and clenched her fists. Her long nails dug into her flesh without feeling any pain. During this period, Yu Lingfeng finally felt relieved about Xia Ying's group of little goo insects. However, these little guys are still very afraid of Yu Lingfeng. It is probably when they first met, Yu Lingfeng said that he wanted to kill them, so it left a shadow in their hearts. Chu Shenxiu is still struggling with a very important question, but there is no one in the whole room who can help him answer his questions. Luo Xin just left. Chu Shenming was not in the research institute, but his heart was still there. He has been sitting aside in a state of natural relaxation, thinking about his research. Ziyu has read almost all of Xia Ying's books, and now he is starting to set his sights on the library in the city center. If you have anything to do, go for a run and come back in the evening. This robot is too easy to learn. Xia Ying and Yu Lingfeng didn't know what they were doing in the room, but after experiencing the frightening experience last time, Chu Shenxiu no longer dared to peek at what they were doing. His young mind couldn't withstand such an impact, so he might as well be out of sight and out of mind. Alas, my sister is too young to stay. Not long after, Xia Ying and Yu Lingfeng came out. Xia Ying saw Chu Shenxiu's bitter face, so she asked, "Why do you have such a stinky face, big turtle dove?" "Cousin Sakura, you finally noticed your dear cousin." Chu Shenxiu took the opportunity to act out a bitter drama again and looked at Xia Ying aggrievedly. "What's wrong with you?" Xia Ying raised her eyebrows in confusion. "I have a very important thing to ask you," Chu Shenxiu said. Xia Ying walked to sit next to him and looked at him doubtfully. "Okay, tell me, is there anything particularly important?" "Here, look." Chu Shenxiu handed over his mobile phone honestly. Xia Ying took it and looked at it. The chat interface displayed was Cute Little Candy. The latest message was sent by Cute Little Candy. "Chu Shenxiu, I have come to China." Xia Ying frowned, looked sideways at Chu Shenxiu, and asked, "Who is this girl?" Chu Shenxiu said honestly, "Tanguoer." "Tanguoer," Xia Ying's frown deepened, "the Tanguoer who can play the piano." Chu Shenxiu nodded. "When did you two get together?" Xia Ying said while looking at the chat records between Chu Sensio and Tanguo, while Chu Sensio was supplementing the background. This matter is difficult to explain. At first, Tanguo asked me for my mobile phone number, and I gave it to her without thinking too much. Later, when she came to China, I thought that I would do my best to play with her as a landlord. As a result, I gradually realized that something was wrong. This little girl now chats with me every day without interruption. I suspect that she is really attracted to me. Thanks to the little cuties Shenzhen, Xingxin, SSZHD, B13159 dead leaves, ink marks, will I have Li for the rest of my life. Heart. Black S reward. End of this chapter.